Hello, everybody. It is I, your friendly hood neighborhood INFP here, and I am aware that I may look a little scraggly. I am much aware, but don't worry, that will change shortly. Maybe not in this video, but in one of the other videos. Me looking like a hot mess will go away. Actually, I don't even think I look like a hot mess. I think it's more of just like regular mess. Anyways, uh, to start off with the December 1 month, 1 day extravaganza, where I upload a video each day, I would like to kick it off with how MBTimes started. And so this actually goes back about 2 years, and about coming around November of 2017 is when it all started. And so I have always been a uh, fan of comics. I've loved manga, I've loved comics. I've been into Marvel, I've been into DC, I've read indie comics. I love a lot of webcomics. I've read so many webcomics from teenager. Not so much anymore. That's kind of slowed down for me, but I used to be obsessed with every webcomic out under the sun. Hundreds and hundreds of webcomics. And I love the idea of one. And so when I started getting more and more into MBTI to help discover myself, and essentially break out of the issues I was dealing with at the time, I gradually became more and more and more and more passionate towards it. And I had a thought of, why isn't there a MBTI webcomic? Or is there a MBTI webcomic? And so I searched, and I searched, and I searched, and for the longest time I found nothing until I decided to look into it again. And I'm like, there really should be somebody. I have to find somebody out there who is willing to do an MBTI webcomic. And this is actually when I ran into Ellen, aka M's Artwork, over on Tumblr, and she was doing these absolutely adorable MBTI scenario comics. And I'm like, this is amazing, this is cute, this is awesome. And so I then sent her a question, because I at the time didn't really care whether or not I would have been the author or writer for the project. I just simply asked her, hey, are you interested in doing a webcomic of, like, your comics are amazing, and have you ever thought about creating a webcomic off of it? I think it would be really cool if you did one. And so she sends back a response saying that no, she hadn't thought of making a webcomic, and she wouldn't know where to begin with creating a webcomic. And so I said, well, there are two ways you can go about it. You can either do it the way you're doing it, where it's like random scenarios of day-to-day life, of things that happen between you and your friends and like MBTI people. Or you could create a progressive story, and if you don't have any ideas and aren't able to come up with, you could collaborate with a writer. And so she sends me back a question of, okay, well, would you like to collaborate then? And at least I believe she was the one who asked me if I would like to collaborate. And I was all for it. Which is, like, it's interesting that she asked me that, but I guess she must have seen my passion towards it. And it's funny because I'd never written a script before. I didn't know the first thing about writing a script. I still struggle with figuring out how to write the script, which she, of course, kindly and patiently helps me edit and go through and tell me what needs to change and all of that. And so I'm like, yeah, I would love to write the script for the comic. What should we call it? So we started like coming up with characters, we started coming up with ideas. We decided to go with slice of life, which if you read the comic you'll know it's primarily slice of life, with some fantasy elements should you go into room 13. And so we came up with personality kinks of other personality types that we know or have ourselves. So basically, when you read all of the profiles of the types, it's either via people we know or things we ourselves deal with. And so um, that is essentially, we got the whole character list and like the likes and dislikes and all of that done, and the profiles are all up. You can see them on Tumblr, Facebook, and Twitter. Should you go back that far, I don't think Twitter keeps a record of that, but I know, well, it does, but like you'd have to dig back far enough, and there aren't any really tags that would allow you to. So Twitter isn't exactly the best place to go for that, but Tumblr and Facebook definitely have, I believe, easy access resources. I may have to repost it again, but I digress. And so, as each new character started coming along in MBTimes, we would release their profile. But, like, the interesting thing for me was that I don't know where I would be today, what I'd be doing, what I'd try to be doing if MBTimes had never happened. I don't know what I would be. I honestly don't know the place I would be at, because that place no longer exists. A place where I never wrote MBTimes, that doesn't exist. And like just thinking about it, it's just like it's baffling to me that yeah, I'm writing this and I'm part of this amazing project that I hope grows exponentially. Yeah, it is a little niche, but essentially it all started with a simple desire, my own desire, of hey, I would really love to see this thing that I'm super passionate about have a comic towards it, because I'm also super passionate about comics, and your art style is very adorable and very appropriate for a kind of comic that I'm looking for. I would love to see one. And the thing is that I saw other MBTI comics, but they all died, or they weren't, or they were like a solo act. They had already started, so either they were dead or they were a solo act, and they were never something I was looking for. And so for her to be like, "Hey, you wanna like help out and do the script," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll definitely jump in." And that's essentially how it all started. And yeah, I just kind of hope it grows from here. And the other thing is that when it started, is that I now then had to figure out the script, the social media, and everything else. And I had ideas, so many ideas. I think I lambasted her and continued to like send in ideas because my knee sometimes goes insane. It goes on the ENFP type hyper mode, despite being an INFP. So ideas, all the ideas, and especially towards things that you're passionate about, or that I was passionate about, and not. So there have been a lot of ideas that never made it into the comic, and with the Twitter, I don't think I would have had another Twitter account. I think I would have been stuck where I was and wouldn't have had a set goal for myself. I probably would have been focused on gaming, which I still kind of am. I would have been focused on trying to do other videos, which I still kind of am. But this one, it gives me a goal. And that's what I like, that she both asked whether I wanted to, or I believe it was her. Give me a second. I will take a quick gander and I'll be right with you. I believe she was the one who asked if I wanted to work. So give me a moment. Yeah, no, she was the one who asked if I wanted to work with her on it, and I, of course, said yes. So, yeah, that is essentially the story as to how MB Time started. Uh, I know we kind of went over this on the Q&A, but I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail about it, especially since I needed a good starter topic for the entire month of December. So with that being said, I will see you guys later. Bye bye.